Alright, so a lot of people asked me about my setup and I decided to make this video to share the link with everyone. I'm using Arch, by the way. I like it because super minimal. When you install it, it has nothing and no clutter. Pacman is great, which is a packet manager. It has everything. There is also AUR, which even has more software. The wiki is great, and if you manage to set it up, I just think it's great. I'm using i3 on top, which is a tiling window manager. For example, I can use super number to navigate over virtual desktops. I can open terminals with my hotkeys. You can see it's very responsive, like you open 20 terminals and it's still fast. One thing I like about it is a scratch space. So if I press super minus, I get the thing, which is like a terminal or any window. We can move anything there, like a browser window, I don't know, email. Usually you can open notes. Oops, here. And I don't know, when you program something here, you have some idea, you say, okay, do not forget, oh, great idea, and this kind of stuff. And it's super quick, and you can always, like, if you go to another window, like here, you can also see it here. We can make it full screen. Oops, we can make it full screen. If we press Command F, yeah. So, right, you can move it to 0. You can also move windows by pressing Super Shift. Let's say we move it to the second one. We go to there. It's very quick. I'm using a single monitor. Some people had troubles with multiple monitors, but I don't know. It's not a problem for me. I don't like multiple monitors. I just have one large monitor at home. I start my programs with the menu. I press Super D and it's, I don't know, open GIMP. It's like the thing in macOS, but I think the menu uses it much before. It's very quick, and yeah, it's great. i3 is amazing, highly recommended. And I think i3 is one of the reasons I can't move to any other operating system, because everything is full of animations and sluggish, where i3 is great. So on macOS there is a similar thing called Aerospace or Airtable, which has closest experience to i3, but still it's not as fast, and you can still have animations for swiping the windows in macOS and this kind of stuff. What else about i3? You can see I also modified the headers of the file, so I like saving vertical space, and you can see there's no header in the window, even if you're outside of the full screen. Another thing about i3, which is great, is full screen. So it's almost immediate. It's for free. Any applications, you just press the same button. Doesn't matter what the developers of the applications did. You just press Command F, and you get full screen applications, which is amazing. I use Tmux to do most of my stuff. You can typical stuff. You can split the pane. You can split horizontally. Few people know about this trick actually. For example, if you do something, I don't know, you have 25 panes open, and then there is something, I don't know, you have Vim open here. You can press Command BZ, and this will maximize the thing. If you don't need this anymore, you press again. You go to another window, you open another Vim. You, I don't know, write something there. You can maximize it, and this kind of stuff. Alright, so let's close this. Alright, this is Tmux. I love it. Actually, Tmux plus Vim is the best setup for me, because no matter where I code, either remotely via SSH or locally, it's still the same interface. I don't change anything. It's exactly the same workflow, which is great. I read my news using Newsboat. It's an RSS reader which is local. It does, so I have a systemd service that updates it every 15 minutes or something. We can go here and read the news. So we can either open this one, or let's find something interesting. So 20 years working on the same software product, and now what I usually do, I can copy the link, press C, and usually I open another pane, and either I press B. B is W3M. Yeah, this thing probably, oh, actually it worked. It's like a browser. Obviously you can't see pictures. If you use this, actually, if you use it outside of Tmux, you can, oh, maybe you can also see pictures. Let's try. Yeah, you can see pictures. So it looks ugly, but this does the job. I think I use not all of my browsing, but a big of my browsing is done via this one, because I like lack of animations. I like the no JavaScript and this kind of stuff, and also it fits nicely in all my other workflows. For example, if we quit this, I press N. So what happens under the hood, W3M browser renders PDF or HTML page, and then it pipes it into Vim, and now I have a Vim window open with the thing, and I can read, I can, I don't know, copy, make some notes and this kind of stuff. Most of the information I consume in this way. Every morning I open Newsboat and I go over this, and then if I like something in the title or in the body of the RSS feed, I press A, and A adds stuff to my reading list. I want to read this in detail, maybe go over code. This is what I want to share, I don't know, on Twitter, on my Telegram channel. And these are the links I like in inbox. And I usually copy everything there, close the Newsboat, and then I go over them one by one. Let's close this one. I usually do this. I read the abstract, or we can also go like this, read the abstract, then we have the link and we can open it. Okay, then, so we have a paper, for example, this is my favorite paper. You can say, okay, let's just read it, and this is one of the reasons I moved away from Zotero a couple of weeks ago, maybe a week ago, I don't remember, but I'm using a single file with all my paper notes, and the way I read stuff, if I see a paper link, a PDF, I press, let's close this, I press, I open the menu, and then I say, okay, PD, which stands for paper download. This is my script, it's just, I don't know, W gets the thing into a temporary file. You can see it's here in the downloads, I have PDF, and then we can read it. I like that I can use, I don't need to use my mouse just to go with this. We can navigate, this kind of stuff. We can zoom in with the keyboard. We can do this. Yes, so this is how I read links which I see on the papers, but also if I want to add this link, actually it should work with the abstract too. I select, I copy, it's in my buffer in the clipboard, and then I press paper add. This adds paper to my paper list. My paper list is a single file, and this is the paper. Files get appended on top. This is the file we just downloaded. And usually I open it locally. To open it locally, I select it, and then I press PL, paper local, and then we get this file open. So you can see that it's not FPDF, but it has a timestamp. Usually I don't know, add title here, in defense of blah blah blah, and then this like my to-do list, right? And then if I want to add some notes, so there are notes starting here. So basically I add some notes, and if I ever want to get back to the paper, I can always select it and say PL, and we have this paper open. And it's also very fast, very responsive. The PDF reader I use is called Zatura. It's very minimal again and goes well with the tiling window manager. There is another one called Zioyak. It offers a bit more cool stuff, like you can freeze the window, I don't know, viewport into a particular formula, and it just makes it easier to read math papers. But I'm fine with this one, and I think it can open also Deja Vu, and Zioyak can't. So I just, I don't know, keep using it for the last 5+ years. So this is how I read papers, and I think the only bit missing, which I haven't shown to you yet, is text editor. I use neovim for multiple reasons. It's quick. You can set it up for, I don't know, any way you like. And it's the same interface. I think this is very important, at least to me. I don't have to change my workflow when I don't know, work remotely or work locally on my computer. Let's actually open the config first and go line by line in the config, and then I will show how I use this stuff. Let's go. I use Z. Z is like a fuzzy CD. We can say, okay, Z tools, and we can open my dot file. This is probably not very interesting, but let's start with this line. Let's go to report, which is my library for reports. I don't use Jupyter notebooks, and I use this one. It's like to create HTML pages with some pictures or some tables and data. Let's open block, and usually when I read code, I fold it so we can get the high level structure from here. And if you, I don't know, interested in a particular thing, for example, we want to see how a table works, you can press Z capital O, Z capital O, and it opens the whole thing. You can change the levels like gradually, but I usually either have everything closed and then I go one by one, or we can try to go one by one. For example, we can go here. We can also expand everything. So this is folding. There are some hotkeys, because usually some of the hotkeys I don't use often and I forget about them. That's why I just added them here. I'm using Lazy to set up my plugins. It makes it so much easier. Ages ago I was using Vim without this, and installing plugins was very hard. So this one is great. You can also see that they point to my repos and not the original repos. I did this, I just fork a plugin I like. I haven't done this with everything yet. I don't know, I'm too lazy. But this allows me to pin the version. So even if the repo changes, my version is still there. And if I want to update it, I have control over it. So let's go one by one. I will show what I'm using each plugin for. I'm trying to reduce the amount of plugins I use. I think for multiple reasons. Security is one. The higher the, I don't know, surface area for the attack. So you don't want this. And also it just, I don't know, makes it faster. And I don't know, some of the plugins are nice, but probably not very, you won't use them every day, let's say. And I don't want to set up stuff I don't want to use. So Fugitive is like a Git plugin. For example, imagine instead of H3 we want to use the H2. It's wrong, but still. I press G, and then we have this here. So you can see what you removed, what you added. Also, we can stage like this. So this is just staged. We can toggle this stage, not stage, and we can also discard by pressing X. This is my main use case for this plugin. I do not use some functionality for merge conflicts. Usually when I have the merge conflict, I look for these signs and then I edit the file directly so I can see the code linearly, and that's pretty much it. So Fugitive is great. I like it. I like that it's integrated with the editor and you don't have to do anything to set it up. So this plugin looks for the sizes of the tabs, like is your indentation 2 tabs or 4 tabs, and it does it automatically. So any file you open, like when you press, I don't know, tab, it gives you the correct indentation level. Undo tree is great. If we go here, for example, we can say space K, and I get the full history of this file. We can see what changed. So for example, we can see that, for example, here, 1 minute ago, we changed this to, this is where we removed. Yeah, this is when we changed it to H2. We can actually go to this thing, I don't know, copy something here, go back, and do something about this, right? So it's not Git history, it's literally local history, and you can go in time and see, like, some of the stuff is 65 days ago, and we can have the original one. So it's great. I don't know how much space this actually takes, but I don't know, I love this. This is great. Then comment and Vim. Ages ago I didn't like Vim for one single reason, is adding multi-line comments was hard. It's like, probably I had to set it up myself in the init file, but still you had to do this visual selection, then you have to prepend the comment thing, and then I don't know, it gets added to only first line, and only in a bit it gets added to the rest. But with the comment and Vim, it's just massive change. For example, if you want to comment a single line, you press GCC, it gets commented. If you want to comment a visual block, you can select this and press GC, or we can say control space maybe, and do this again. Right, this is great. For imports, let's say source. Okay. Helix. This is the theme. A lot of people think it's not neovim, it's Helix because of the colors. I just like the color scheme of Helix, and I forked the repo on GitHub, changing a couple of things to make it closer to Helix, and yeah, this is how it looks. I used to use Retrobox, which is, I think, basically the default theme, which is like a groove box. It looks great. I actually quite like it, but the thing I don't like, if you open the text file, so it's white and black, and for some reason I cannot focus on when I read a lot of text like this, and I found it very good for me. Helix I like. Then the next one is Rustation. It's a plugin for Rust. Has some fancy stuff. There's Rust Analyzer inside of this, but also you get some additional stuff on top. And the next one is the debugger. Let's actually go to one of my Rust projects and open the main, and I will show you the debugger. So in Python I just use PDB. I do not use the debugger, but here in Rust it's a little bit more complicated. I tried using GDB, and because of skill issues I don't know, I couldn't get used to it, and the visual debugger is just much easier. For example, if you go to main, you can set up a breakpoint like Is it space db? Yes, so we added the breakpoint, and now if you say space dc, we can choose a configuration to run, but let's run the binary RTD. And this is basically the classic, I don't know, visual debugger, where we can go step over, step in. We can add watches. Oops. Example, we can check config path. Oops. Why doesn't it work? All right, let's see. Oops, I actually don't know why it doesn't work. How do I step over DJ? Okay, let's say DJ. Oops. Let's see what's the context here. All line. Oh, actually it works. I don't know what happened. I haven't used this much, so I'm still not used to this thing. I was using a visual debugger in the PyCharm before and the IntelliJ when I was coding in Java. But yeah, I mostly use it to check some variable values where it debugs something, and when we want to stop it, dr or de. Okay. Some reason it didn't close everything at once. But let's go back to reports. So where are we? Debugger. Yeah, these add some UI stuff to the debugger thing. You can connect multiple languages, but I only use it with Rust. Arial is nice. It gives you a way to show the outline of a file. I think was missing in Helix when I tried it, and I just like it. You can do this. Let's open, I don't know, block. If I press this, we can see the layout. There is also, I think, Arial toggle, so you can see the same thing here. So you can navigate over this. I just, to save some space, I do not use it, and also you can fuzzy find here like image. So I just use it through this window from the 3-seater or from the telescope. Next one is LSP config. I'm using language server support. We'll see it like the configs later, and this just provides an easy way to set them up. This is the autocomplete. Let's see, I don't know, import numpy snp np zeros, so we can, it's basically the autocomplete, nothing fancy. But I'm not using Copilot or any code assistance because I don't know, if I start using this I become too lazy and I forget how to properly code. That's why I only use autocomplete without any, with just simple stuff. Git signs is a library to see this. For example, we remove the line, move the line, we change the line, we can see tilde, or we add the line, we see, yeah, we see a plus. Then I use it telescope. Telescope provides a cool way to do, I don't know, file or text finding. I press space SF. I will show you the hotkeys later. But for example, I can go to the to-dos, and this is how I navigate. We can do grep, search for report, or search for server, and go there. And 3-seater, I think it's a bit that parses the languages and allows us to basically use it in conjunction with the language servers. We can navigate, go to definition and this kind of stuff. For example, if you want to say go to definition, go to definition. If you can see the help, this kind of stuff. And then Neogen is the last plugin. It has nothing in common with Primagen. But this is how I generate docstrings. For example, this one has a docstring already, but if this one doesn't, I press space CC and it generates a template for me with all the parameters. If you have the types, it adds the types. Actually, for some reason it didn't add the type. I don't know why. You can specify the format of the docstrings. I'm using Google Docstrings, but there is NumPy support on this kind of stuff. It supports other languages too. We can actually try it in Rust. Let's go to RTD. Let's find a function without the comments or the struct. Space CC. Here we go. It's like a Rust's way to use something like docstrings. Alright. Blocks. This is all my plugins. I don't use anything else. Let's go over the setup. Some telescope setup. This is the fuzzy finder I was showing you before. So tree-sitter. Right. So we just add languages we want to support. Some cool stuff like this. For example, we can gradually, incrementally expand the selection window like this, and then select the whole file. Or if we are on the beginning of the class, we can select the whole thing. If we're at the beginning of the function, we can do this. If you're inside of the functions, we can, for example, select everything that's inside the function by pressing, I think, VIF. Yes, everything inside the function. Or if you press VAF, you select everything with the function. We can also navigate over method functions by using I think brackets M. Yes, brackets M, and then in another direction. Then we set up LSP servers, and when it's done, we add some hotkeys. For example, if you want to look at the documentation, it's just, I don't know, add something. Let's say X's and P0s. Probably. Oops. And now we don't know how this works. We don't want to open ChatGPT to check this. We just want to press Shift K and have nothing. All right. It's probably a bad bad example. Array of this work. Okay, this one is a bit better. But if you have some docstrings, let's check a function where we have docstrings. Like here, for example, image init. Let's say we want to say image. Okay, so we can read the docstrings. We can copy paste stuff. We can go here and copy paste the parameters if we want, which is really nice. We can rename stuff. For example, imagine you, I don't know, have some variable. Let's make it 42, and then you say, okay, print this variable. And then at some point you want to rename. You don't want to rename it everywhere, but you can say space rn and name it something else. So it's pretty quick. It's nice. You can also do search and replace in Vim, but it's I think it's just more complex. And this uses the language server support, so it knows exactly which variable to rename. For example, actually let's check it out. For example, if in this function you have x is 2, well, let's make it 42. We do print x, but also let's say there is a function x in this one. If you rename this one, please work renamed. Yes, so this x is unchanged. But if we do search and replace, which is x. Let's say, yeah, even let's say we count into like for the space and replace it variable, so we can see that this does change everything. So it has no idea about the language itself. That's why this rename is very useful. We can go to definition. Let's say we go to definition of remove by just pressing GD, which is great. We can also see, for example, where this reference is used. Let's see, gr. I don't know, for some reason with the needs it doesn't work, but let's say we make a function. Oops. And then somewhere else, let's say the beginning of the file, or let's put this into the beginning of the file, and then we'll use it in the end. Let's say, what's it called? Function. We want to see where this is used, right? So we want to see where this is used. We do gr, and we can see where it's used. All right. This is goes to the reference. All right. Then GVD. Let me show you something. So in Vim, if you're unfamiliar, there are things called buffers. Think of them as open files, or just files. And there are windows. The window is like a viewport into your buffer. For example, if you can open another window into this buffer, and if you change it, you can see immediate changes on the right. But also, this can be useful. For example, if you want to look up something here, or if you work here, if you add codes on here, code here, but then you want to see something, I don't know, some file block, for example. If you have a file block here, you go to file block, you still can see what's happening here, but you can also see it here, right? This is very useful. But most often, you just do not offer the window like this open. For example, if you want to see the file, for example, I press GVD, and it opens it on the side, so we can still look into here, but go over the implementation of the thing. It's like GD, but it just opens another window, right? Go to reference, go to implementation, document symbols. Just go through the symbols I was showing this to you before, and then we also have code actions. Don't know. So what do we get? Maybe rough gives us something here. You can fix, for example, imports. It's like some automatic basic stuff. If you go to Rust, you can, for example, imagine we make a new structure, a new struct, mega struct, and we make some variable of f32, and let's say we want to see code actions. Oh wow, generate some stuff. It's a lot of stuff. Interesting. What if we are here? Okay, so for example, we can make it public, or we can generate the constructor for it. Just, I don't know, some simple stuff. Sometimes don't use it often, but sometimes it's I don't know, handy. Then there is Mason. Mason is like a package manager for your language servers. If you press Mason, you can see all the language server stuff I installed. For example, this is Zig, this is tech support, Rough. Rough is great. We can go and see, I don't know, what debuggers can we download. We can just, I think it's I, and it will install it. So currently have this installed. If you press X, it will remove them and this kind of stuff. It's just very easy to set up new stuff. You don't have to deal with anything. And this is the servers I use. This is for tech, Pyrite for Python, Rough, HTML, and Zig. I also have Rust Analyzer, but because I'm using Rustation and Vim plugin, it manages the Rust Analyzer itself. There's some configuration going on, probably not very useful. This is how we set up the debugger thing. Then completion. I was showing the autocomplete, but let's see, struct. We have multiple, so this thing just says how we navigate over those. You can press Ctrl N or Ctrl P to go here and there, so that we don't have to leave the home row. And we can press Enter to select. The next one, just a nice thing, it selects when we yank stuff. For example, here you can see basically it highlights what we selected. If I say Y3Y, we know what we actually select. For example, since Vim starts numeration of lines from zeros, like you can see that the next line is 1. If we select 6 lines, we actually won't, or 7 lines, we will not select the whole thing, right? And we can see it here. That's why we have to do 8. Alright, so what else? So let's look at the telescope stuff. This is great. One of my favorite plugins. If you press space, this one, you basically get the list of all files. If you do space, we see all open buffers. I mentioned that it's like open files, but if I do open some, for example, cargo or readme, they can navigate over these buffers. This is great. I was using, for navigation, I was using Primagen's plugin called Harpoon. It's great. You can bind particular files to hotkeys, but recently, I don't know. I'm using this thing, and it's, I don't know, it's good enough for me. As I said, I wanted to reduce the amount of plugins I use. Sorry, Primagen. Plugin is great, by the way. Let's find files. We can, I already was showing it. Basically, you can search the files. Let's go back to the report. We can do grep, which is powered by ripgrep, I think. For example, if you want to see report, everything is here. It's very nice. You can see all the context and this kind of stuff. You can go there. You can resume search. Continue scrolling through this. It's also smart. There is a smart case thing. If you don't use capital letters, it's case insensitive. But as soon as you start this, you can see that it only searches for capital letters, which is sometimes useful. Diagnostics. If there are problems with your code, you can search for diagnostics here. Sorry, my code is usually perfect, but for some reason, I don't know, someone sabotaged it, and we have 3 diagnostics. We can move over them. Don't usually use it. Then resume I was showing, then aerial I was showing you this, where you have the layout. If you go to the Rust project again, basically you can see the structs, you can see enums, you can see the fields, you can navigate. It's pretty cool. Then the next is the file explorer. Basically we can create new files. Then we can move the for the diagnostics. I was showing this before. The tree toggle, I was showing this history tree before. Then if you want to use absolute numbers, you can do this. Sometimes, I don't know, I find it a bit easier. Most of the time I use relative numbers. Then Git, it's similar to GVD, where I was showing that on the right we open the pane. For example, if we if we add something, GVD, well not GVD, is JG opens Git in the vertical thing. Usually when I'm done with implementing something, I open this in vertical window and go over changes and stage them. It's like staging is done like this for me. You can do it horizontally, but it's just nicer to have more vertical space, because if you just press G, it's like this. You can also do this in Vim. It's Ctrl W minus or underscore, and you can equalize them after. But I just think it's nicer in the vertical mode. What else? Leader N. This is how I navigate over buffers. If you have multiple files opened, you can say BN or BP. It's like buffer next buffer previous. It's like Alt Tab right inside buffers. Or we can just say leader N, leader N, leader P, leader P. Cargo build. Actually, let's check it out. This is how I build a project. Let's see if that works. Oh wow, it did work. Great. Then you can close the buffer by the space Q. Oh, what I like actually building from inside of the Vim, if there are any bugs, so we can do this. If there are any bugs, let's comment this out so that the enum check or the is not exhaustive, and the compiler should complain. We build, yes. So and we can actually see where the error is, and you can navigate it from here. You can also do this in the terminal, but I don't know, scrolling is easy in Vim. You can copy paste something. If you want to use ChatGPT to check something after, you can copy paste it from here. It's great. Let's fix this and make sure it builds. Yay. Then CC. This is to generate the comments. I was showing it before, but let's try to do it again. Yeah, so it's like doc string documentation strings. Then I actually added this yesterday. Sometimes I find it useful to move to swap lines. If I press Ctrl J, I can move a line down, or Ctrl K moves it up. But also we can do this with the blocks. For example, if you want to select this thing, and we can move the whole thing. Actually, let's see. There's, yeah. So we move this, we change the positions of the two structs. Alright, let's discard this. Alright. Then this is the debugger. Was it showing the debugger already? I think so. Then just a station thing to see the runnables. Color scheme setup. This is some annoying window when you edit Zig project and you have errors. You get an annoying window pop up. I turn it off. I don't know why it's on by default. And then save on format. I think it's nice if you do this, save, it fixes it. Yeah, that's basically all my init.lua file. It's less than 200 lines. Setup is mostly automatic. Apart from this, so currently I have to install Mason install called LDB, but I'm pretty sure I can just write a config that does this automatically for me. This is already taking too long. I think we should wrap it up. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the thread. Send me an email. We'll be happy to help you out with this kind of setup. Cool. Thanks. See you, everyone.